Hi, this is Dorothy Guining with Scrapbooking Quebec, a YouTube channel that makes scrap lifting easy. I give step-by-step instructions with measurements, so hopefully you're not left wondering, what the heck did she just do? In this video, I'll show you a different approach to creating a page-on-page technique, and that's what I call it when you create a mini page and adhere it to a larger foundation. It's a great way to add layering to a layout and still maintain a clean look on the page. I've done this a few times before, different page designs, but the same technique, and I'll link up some videos in the description box below this video. This is what I'll be using, mostly material from the January 2019 HIP kit. I'll list specific products and tools in the description box below as well. Now you can use the products of your choice. You'll need 3 to 4 printed papers, cardstock, embellishments, something to create a title, and 2 photos. This is what I'll be using, and in addition to the paper and embellishments, I also have white and black cardstock and vellum. The first step is going to be to create a frame style foundation. I used 3 pieces of paper, and then cut yourself a 6.5 by 12 inch piece of printed paper. All measurements for photos and page parts will be written on the screen. This blue paper is going to be the mini page, the mini foundation. It's going to be where everything happens. I'm cutting myself 2 strips of paper. One's a bit larger than the other, and I'm going to turn them into banners. I have a handy triple banner punch by Stampin' Up, but if you don't have this tool, all you need to do is cut yourself 2 strips of paper and snip the ends into fishtails. Then you layer them up to create a border at the bottom of the page or towards the bottom of the page. They spill over the sides a bit, and adhere this banner towards the bottom of the page. Then I cut out in advance photo mats for my photos. I double matted my photos in white and pink, and I'm going to adhere the photo mats to the photos, but I'm not going to adhere the photos to the page quite yet. I'm going to be doing a lot of layering, and I want to keep my options open at this point. Now you're going to notice in a minute, I'm going to try to fit a lot of stuff towards the top of the page. I'm going to put some of that snowflake paper behind that little photo at the top, as well as try to fit in this large title and a journaling box. And I can't do it. I've got too much happening here. I'm also going to show you another page where I succeeded in putting everything at the top of the page. No big deal. I end up deciding to put the title, part of the title, on the larger foundation piece. I'm going to do that later on. So you may want to start and stop the video in a few spots, just if you're not quite following what I'm doing here. Now that I've got my main parts decided, the placement of the title, text, and photos, it's now time to start my embellishment clusters. Now I always start my embellishment clusters with a larger piece, and in this case it's going to be doilies. I happen to have a new tool called the Doily Builder Thinlits from Stampin' Up, so that's what I'm using here, and I cut out a doily in vellum. It does other sizes as well, and I cut some in advance. I just wanted to show you how I did it, and as well I used the precision plate for the big shot for that one. Now I place the doilies in 3 spots, and I'm going to build 3 embellishment clusters, just like I would on a normal 12 by 12 page, except this is simply a smaller version of that. So now I'm going to adhere all of that down, and once all of this is in place, I will start creating the embellishment clusters. I'll be building on these embellishment clusters. I want you to just take note here. Basically, everything on this mini page is exactly what I would put on a larger page. I have photos, title, text, and I'm going to have 3 embellishment clusters. I also want you to have a look at the journaling. I did my journaling on the computer. I printed it out, and then I cut it out and tucked it under the photo. But all of the text is justified towards the right because I wanted to line it up along that photo. I really liked the look. It was very easy to do, and that's why I'm pointing it out. Obviously, when I cut out the journaling box, I left a little bit of paper towards the right so that I could tuck it underneath the photo. So once all of this is down, I'm going to start creating my embellishment clusters, and I'm using the ephemera from the Pinkfresh Studio Everyday Musings. That's what came with the hip kit in January this year. I'm cutting out this medallion piece with a set of dies from Stampin' Up. They're called Stitched Shapes, and basically they cut basic shapes and emboss stitching around the edge. It makes a nice finished looking piece. And now I'm going to start layering up some of the other pieces of ephemera. Basically what I did was I selected some of the pinks, blues, and grays that coordinated with my page, and that's what I'm using. I'm adding foam adhesive to some of the groupings just to add a bit of dimension to each of the groupings. And as you can see, all of the main page parts are here. I've got title, text, photos, and 3 embellishment clusters, just like I would do on a 12 by 12 page. And it's quite layered up and it's quite full. However, in a moment, I'll be adhering this mini page to the larger foundation piece, and you'll notice it changes the look a bit. Basically, when you do this, you add a lot of white space around your mini page, so it's a place for the eyes to rest. So earlier I mentioned the page-on-page technique is a great way to create a layered look on a layout and still maintain a clean look on your layout. And this is why. Now I'm adding a few things to the larger foundation piece. So what I'm doing is creating 2 mini banners to repeat what is at the bottom. They're the same paper. It's that pink and white wiggly stripe as well as the snowflake paper, and I'm going to adhere that to the top left-hand corner. And now I have to adhere the rest of my title to the page. It reads, "Frigate's cold," because that's something I say quite frequently living in Quebec. And once I get this title down, I'm going to step back and I'm going to have a look at my page. I always do this, and I ask myself, how can I solidify this page? How can I solidify my embellishment clusters? And it's not going to take much in this case. I basically get out those glittery enamel shapes that came in the kit. They're by Shimelle, and I add them in 3 different spots. What you see me doing here is adding an apostrophe to its. It was so tiny I had trouble adhering it, so basically I added adhesive to the black paper and then I cut it out with scissors, and it worked perfectly. It's like I made my own little sticker. So now what I'm doing is adding some of those enamel shapes like I said, and it really does finish off the page. The camera will stop in a minute, and all I did after was adhere that gray tassel at the bottom of the page, and I added some faux stitching at the top of those banners at the top left and a little bit on the banner at the bottom. I did that in black, and I find stitching or faux stitching a great way to add a touch of color to a layout without adding too much visual weight. I wanted to add a bit more black, just a repeat of what was in the title and in the foundation page. So there you have it, a different twist on the page-on-page technique where you create a mini page and then adhere it to a larger foundation. It's a great way to add a layered look that's still clean. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to Scrapbooking Quebec. It really does make me happy and motivate me to make more videos. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.